Good evening, YouTube and the SMA community, and welcome to round 3 of the Motorsport South Africa Cup 2025. Today marks the quarter mark of the season as the championship starts to hot up. It was VSR Richard that claimed top honours in the last round with his first victory of the season and the second different driver to win so far in the MSA Cup. Will we have a third different winner come the end of the night, or will Richard continue on with his fine early season form? Well, myself, Flawed Genius Gaming, will be uncovering all the action to see where the night takes us, but once again I'll be helped by my mercurial Scotsman who has the fastest hands and lips, the perfect fit for the job, I think. It is Hugh Hattrick. Good evening, Hugh, and welcome back.
Good evening, Flawed, and good evening to everyone out there on YouTube. It's fantastic to see you tonight. I can't wait for a very exciting race tonight. Lots of new drivers. I'm sure it'll be spectacular as we see them all race away to see how well they can do. But yes, we're on top form. We've got a new car with the Peugeot, so it's all going to be a lot of fun. And I can't wait to get things started, Sean.
Yeah, I can't wait indeed. I think this race could be spectacular, but we'll have to wait and see. But before we get into all our race details, it's important to shout out our sponsors for the MSA Cup 2025. So the MSA Cup 2025 is sponsored by Simulator Cave, South Africa's haven for all your sim racing equipment, selling only the highest recommended products from the likes of Fanatec and Moza, as well as racing cockpits for that perfect driving experience. Contact JP for all his helpful and friendly advice, and if you're still not convinced, book yourself a tour of the shop and test drive many of their sim rigs available so you get the full sim experience, leaving behind any doubts. Link is in the description below. And also sponsored by TGSC, Cape Town Golf Academy, the hotbed of nurturing young potential to golfing greatness. An academy with a breadth of history for producing talent on the world stage. If you feel you have what it takes to become South Africa's next global star, TGSC is certainly the place to be. Thank you so much to our sponsors for this season, our official sponsors for the 2025 season of the MSA Cup. Also, Motorsport South Africa is the only place for official GT7 leagues on behalf of South Africa and Sim Motorsport Association, growing the sport together. Please contact Robin Williams, our MSA GT7 promoter, for further details. Email links will be in the description below and on our YouTube homepage. Okay, so let's take a look at a recap of the season we have in store for you in the MSA Cup 2025. So we are 2 weeks down, 8 to go, and today sees us fly across the pond to the first of our trio of US locations. We are in the south side of North America for the world famous circuit of Road Atlanta, driving the first of our Group 3 cars for this season, the Peugeot RCZ, in this one-make race. Then we are off next week with a trip up the east coast to New York for the equally famous Watkins Glen at the end of June, which will also be featuring the Peugeot RCZ, a one-make race. This will then be followed by the third and final leg of our US tour as we fly to the west coast for our special event at Laguna Seca, with the car yet to be announced on the 7th of July. Round 6 sees us back in Europe for the beautiful sunny beaches of Croatia but don't get too comfortable, as this place hosts one of the deadliest and trickiest chicanes known to man. It is, of course, a Dragon Trail Seaside for our new one-make race featuring the Nissan GTR 2018 car, which will be held on the 14th of July. Then the following week on the 21st sees us take a long flight to Asia for Japan at Super GT Haven, that is Autopolis, also featuring the Nissan GTR. Then it's back to Europe for the final time as we head to Spielberg, Austria for the visit of the Red Bull Ring using the Mercedes-AMG 2020 Group 3 car. And it is actually the final Group 3 one-make series of the championship to be held on the 28th of July before a short journey east across to neighbouring Italy for the Cathedral of Speed. We are in Monza as we complete the AMG one-make series, for which brings us to the grand finale of the MSA Cup in our special event at Le Mans. Car still to be decided, but will be held on August the 11th, which will declare our new champion for the 2025 season of the GT7 Motorsport South Africa Cup. So that is the roadmap for this season, but what have we got for tonight's race? Hugh, please fill us in with all the details.
Well, tonight we have got a fantastic track. It is, of course, Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, located in the state of Georgia. And it made its series debut in Gran Turismo 7's update 1.26. And it's famous for hosting the Petit Le Mans series, which is a 10-hour race that usually is held as part of IMSA, the top level of endurance racing in the United States. It's just over 4 kilometers long, so really 2.5 miles. It's very short indeed. And it has 11 turns in a clockwise direction. And as we go to the race details here, we've got tyre wear times 3, fuel consumption times 3, and it is a grid start with a false start check. Now we have racing tyres. Now the required are mediums and hards, but they could always pop in a soft air as well to see exactly what will happen. And the race is 38 laps long, so it's going to be exciting, it's going to be spectacular. Kendall said to me earlier, we are going to be kept very busy, so he seems to think that lots of stuff is going to go on. I'm sure that will be the case, but it's looking like it's going to be a very close race, and I can't wait for it to get started, Sean.
Yeah, can't wait indeed. But we also need to have a look at the drivers featured for this Tier 1 race at Road Atlanta. So let's take a look. So the driver lineup for Tier 1 and results from Round 2 at Deep Forest saw VSR Richard claim top spot to celebrate his first ever win in SMA and continue on his fine form so far in the MSA Cup with 2 back-to-back podiums out of 2. In second, it was VSR teammate JDJ back on the podium with a fine display. And third was our 14-year-old wonder kid, Puma Nutcat, with his first ever Tier 1 podium, highlighting his confidence and potential for the rest of the season. Rising up to fourth is VSR Wolfie after TNR Levitius was handed a 2-place grid penalty for a driver infringement, which means VSR Fish also rises up a position to claim 5th place as a result, meaning Levitius has been demoted to 6th position. In 7th was Puma Neil with another solid display, and coming home in a disappointing 8th was TNR Papaya Racer, who I'm sure will be looking for better things next time out. In 9th was teammate Panic Potato, who made his debut in Tier 1, got a P2 in quali, but was let down with the wrong call, but certainly made his mark in Tier 1 nevertheless. Also cementing his position for Tier 1 for another week was VSR Nitro Merlin, who came from the last row from the grid with a fine piece of strategy to finish in 10th position. MGR Kennels also had some great early pace, battling at the top end of the grid, but was caught out with perhaps the wrong strategy, and luck not fortuning the brave meant he could only manage an 11th position, but grabbed the last surviving position to remain in Tier 1 for this week. This means VSR Giller, MGR Dutchman and KLM Pace coming home in 12th, 13th and 14th respectively will be relegated to Tier 2 for this week. But best of luck in their race, which would have already have been raced prior to the Tier 1 race today. If you're in chat, let us know how you got on, because promoted into Tier 1 today is Tier 2 race winner Tierna Latari, back in the elite category for round 3 with a commanding win, and making their debuts for Tier 1 in the MSA Cup is second place finisher Puma Racing GTR aka Robin Williams, and third place finisher Tierna Vortex, looking to mix it up with South Africa's very best. So what does that mean for the points championship in Tier 1 for the MSA Cup after 2 rounds? So this means VSR Riches has replaced Tierna Papaya Racer at the top of the championship with a 15-point cushion, with his P1 and P2 showing so far this season with 795 points. Slipping down to second with 780 points is Tierna Papaya Racer, with VSR Wolfie breathing down his neck in third, just a point behind on 779 points, and 5 points further down in fourth with 774 points is VSR Fish, who is just 3 points in front of his teammate VSR JDJ in fifth on 771 points, and climbing to sixth is Puma Nutcap on 769 points, with Tierna Levitius sinking down to 7th, just a point back on 768 points. And continuing his consistent start is Puma Nil in 8th position on 764 points, who has replaced MGR Kennels to knock him down to 9th, 3 points behind on 761 points. And then rising to 10th is VSR Nitro Merlin, who has 751 points, just 2 points more than newly promoted Tierna Latari, who occupies 11th with 749 points, 1 point in front of teammate Tierna Panic Potato, who holds 12th with 748 points. Then in comes Puma Racing GTR in 13th with 729 points, and Tierna Vortex in 14th with 721 points. It is worth mentioning that KLM Pace and VSR Giller would be in the list for their points accumulated so far, but as this is the Tier 1 points tally, they won't feature, being that they are racing in Tier 2 for this evening. We'll be joining the drivers on track in a few moments time as practice draws to a close, but best of luck to everyone in the Tier 1 race tonight. Right, so the drivers are just doing their final bit of practice ahead of this 10-minute qualifier at the Road Atlanta racecourse in round 3 of this MSA Cup. But Hugh, I mean, you've been watching the practice session. How are the drivers getting on so far?
Well, it's Levitius leading the pack at the moment, but only by a 1/10 of a second from VSR Richard, who is taking the fight to him tonight. And Panic Potato has also just gone up into 3rd place. Now, when we were doing the race, kind of practice race on Friday, Levitius had looked very strong indeed, and had driven away in a commanding style. But I think it could be a little bit different tonight with the pressure of all the other drivers there. And of course, this is the proper championship event. So it's going to be a real tough one. Tyre wear does play quite a considerable stress on the drivers, because it is countable. It will build up, and with all these very quick corners as well, if you get into a battle, then you could well be burning through your tyres much quicker than you would hope. But it's going to be close. All the drivers are using the same car with the Peugeot, and of course Robin, who I think is my man to get on the podium tonight. I should put in a bet. What do you think, Sean? 30 quid or more? I think he's got at least a 20 to 1 chance to get on that podium.
Hey, it could be money well spent there. I mean, I'd say that Robin is full of surprises, and certainly a driver that on his day is a very fast driver, very consistent, very thoughtful on his race strategies as well. So anything is possible around a circuit like Road Atlanta, where the curbs tend to be quite devastating for a car like the Peugeot RCZ, which is not so good on them sausage curbs and tends to bottom out at times, and the drivers will have to be very, very careful on their approach, particularly on the exit of the chicane or the S's, which I've become a bit of a cropper when it came to spinning out and binning it, so hopefully they won't be doing what I did, you.
And we've just seen Wolfie take to the top of the tables. He is now 0.017 ahead, so I think it's looking very, very close for qualifying, which is good. They've all had plenty of practice throughout the week, so yeah, we are going to see a great race. And of course we're driving at night time as well, so we're going to see the drivers driving at night, which is different. You can't always see your braking points, your turn-in points. It's much more of a challenge, and I think it's the first time in this championship that we've had nighttime conditions, so looking forward to that, Sean. It's all beginning to hot up.
It is indeed, yes. For those that are not aware, then, so basically it is going to start in the sort of sunset evening part of the day. It's going to go straight through to the night, and then may end during the morning part of the next day. So basically pretty much a night race in store for the drivers, which does bring a whole different dynamic to these races. Of course, the track is going to be a lot colder, the tyres are definitely going to be a lot colder, so the drivers definitely will have to be careful on their outlaps and their early part of the race as well. And yeah, but that also brings its positives as well, and that is certainly with the tyre wear. So the drivers will need to choose accordingly at the start of the race, but it's certainly going to be an interesting one. But I need to welcome in everyone that's in the chat right now. Thank you all for joining us, and also we are celebrating the fact that we reached 200 subscribers on this very channel. But if you are new to the channel, please do hit that subscribe button to grow this channel and community further, and by hitting the like button as well, really spreads our content across the platform. It will be much appreciated, so please do smash that like button. But yeah, welcome in everyone in chat. So we've got Alanator, we've got Ryan in here, we've got GT Slow-Mo, welcome, and quite possibly will be a commentator joining me in the commentary booth throughout the season. We've got Abdul in here. We have got Dana in here. Now someone yeah, I would like to announce is Dana is actually my girlfriend, so so thank you so much for joining, and please give a warm introduction or a warm hello to her, and make her feel welcome in the community. But we welcome in Kaylen, Ryan, Kennel's in here, of course, racing in this Tier 1 race today. We've got Neil in here as well, and we got Freak Schaefer as well. So of course is cheering on JDJ. I think we've got a JDJ super fan in here, as well as Lauren as well. Welcome in, Lauren. How are you? Hopefully you're doing well. But yes, we are just awaiting the start of the qualifying session, where it will be 10 minutes ahead of a 38 lap race here at Road Atlanta, as we just see one of the VSR drivers go head on into the wall. So I think we're about to get this qualifying session started, Hugh, but what are your thoughts about this racetrack?
It's a wonderful racetrack, from the blind entries to the corners, you know, going up and down these hills. You really can't see in real life what it's like, and even in this game it is very tough. You've got to get the line perfect to be able to get the most out of the next corner, and of course get it onto the straights, because you want to get as much speed as you can onto these back straights. So plenty of challenges. The chicane at the end of the lap as well. Very, very difficult because you're coming downhill and you've got to go through that left and right, and you think, how much curb can you take? How much can you cut it and get a good right turn up the hill? And it's very skiddy as well on those racing hard tyres. It's going to be a real challenge. And even on the mediums, once they get a wee bit done, you're going to really find the grip quite difficult. But our drivers tonight, the top of South Africa's Motorsport Racing League, the SMA, and here with the Motorsport South Africa Cup, they are more than capable of managing their tyres. So we can't wait for them to get started. And it's a great racetrack, well renowned, and a Gran Turismo favourite.
Right, well, we just had a word from the race director saying we're just waiting on one driver before we get qualifying started. I'm sure once he's given us the all clear, we will then get this qualifying session underway. Now, I have to say, with the qualifying session as well, I do predict that obviously with the qualifying, they're going to be using soft tyres. But when it comes to the race, I do believe they will be using the harder of the tyres, because it is a bit of a tyre burner this race, and certainly where the mediums and the hards are the mandatory tyres, I'm not sure they'll be using the soft tyres through the race, but certainly in qualifying we get to see their true pace and see exactly what sort of lap times they can produce around this very, very tricky 11 turn circuit, which is pretty short as well, to be honest, but nevertheless a very, very tricky circuit where one mistake can cost it all. So yeah, we'll see how we get on here. And of course this is a very important race as well, Hugh, because of course as we ride on board with Richard now, he is the championship leader right now, which was probably a shock to me, a shock to you as well, when going into this season's championship. So the likes of Levitius, he's in 7th position in the championship right now, so we're expecting him to start bringing the fight to Richard and the rest of the VSR drivers who have really started off this championship really well. But then of course Nutcap I think is very capable as well. Obviously with Levitius's teammate Chaz, we know he's always up there. There's so many great drivers in this grid. It's definitely going to be a hard one to call who is going to be successful here, Hugh.
Yes, I think the qualifying is going to be absolutely pivotal. If you can get a good qualifying position, then I think you stand a great chance of getting through the first few corners. I think there's going to be a lot of overtaking, probably a little bit of rubbing, shall we say, rubbing bumpers in this circuit because of the chicanes, and also the chances of making mistakes in the first few laps. So whoever gets on that pole position, if they can get a good getaway, then I think they've got a chance of maybe pulling away. But we'll have to see, because as you say, there are some very strong drivers, Nutcap, JDG, Wolfie, and many, many others there. Richard, the current championship leader, they're all ready to do a great time, and I don't think they'll be far away. I think this is going to be a very, very close grid. As we were looking at practice, it certainly seemed that way. So they've only got 7.5 minutes left of qualifying. It's not long. It might be a fairly short lap here, but it still takes a lot of concentration. So yeah, it's going to be exciting, and we can't wait to see the times. Levitius crosses the line with a 1:18.023, so he heads the field at the moment, but I'm sure we'll see that get very, very much closer in the next few seconds.
Yes, indeed. So Levitius is on pole position so far with that 1:18.0, but that is followed by his teammate Panic Potato, who's just managed to come across the line with a 1:18.2 as Chaz goes wide out of turn 1, I do believe, but he is currently third on the timing boards right now with a 1:18.3. VSR JDJ is just a 10th behind Chaz in 4th with a 1:18.4, and then we got VSR Fish with a penalty. I do wonder if he's going to dive into the pits, but he's half a second off of Levitius with a 1:18.5. Then we got VSR Richard in P6, just 200th of a second separating teammates Fish and Richard for P5 and P6 respectively. and then Puma Racing Neil in P7 with an 18.7. Nutcap into 8th position. We are very, very early in this qualifying session though, so things could change on the sixpence as it looks like Nutcap is going to come into the pits. So I think a lot of the drivers will be diving into the pits to get onto new boots, although Latari Racing has decided to carry on, and Kenny and Profi Khan with Wolfie in the top 10 right now. He'll be diving into the pits. Nitro Merlin currently P11 with a 1 minute 19.2, and then we've got Vortex in 12th position, of course, making his debut in Tier 1 this evening with a 1 minute 19.5. Puma the Joker is in the pit lane in P13, so I do wonder whether or not he'll be coming out on track very shortly. But we've got Kennels in 10th position. Okay, he's just come across the line to set his lap time of a 1 minute 18.8 to move up into the top 10. So we've got 9 tenths separating the top 10 drivers. So that is how close things stand right now, Hugh. But do you well, in fact, I was just about to say, will anyone get into the 17s? But Levitius is the first man to get beneath that 1 minute 18.
And he's only a tenth of a second ahead of VSR Richard, just by 0.104, so there's nothing in it. And then JDJ just 0.168 further behind. So the top 3 are covered by just 2.5 tenths, which is very impressive indeed. And Panic Potato there in 4th is also just about a tenth away. So yes, it's certainly looking very close. That's exactly what we want to see, and they are taking the fight to Levitius tonight.
They are indeed. Well, you know, the one thing about Levitius is that he did actually get pole position in the last round, but the strategy call he made wasn't the optimal one, and he wasn't able to be the fastest man on the track come the end of the race. So with Levitius getting a couple of penalties as well, a couple of positioned penalties, he only managed to get 6th position, so he will be looking to get back to winning ways come the end of this race, but it is certainly very, very close between all the drivers. VSR Richard, current championship leader, in 2nd position, so you can tell that VSR Richard is definitely a guy up for it. He's definitely feeling confident, and he'll be looking to challenge Levitius and maybe force a mistake from him during the race. That is if he does remain in 2nd position, because JDJ is just 1.5 tenths down on him in 3rd position. Anything can change in the last 3.5 minutes we've got in this qualifying session, with Panic Potato as well, just 200th of a second separating him and JDJ. So it's very, very tight between all the drivers as Panic Potato lets through JDJ and Richard, I do believe. So they're on the outlap though, so I think Panic Potato just maybe looking to get a little bit of track space. No, he's dived into the pits. Okay, that's interesting. So will he have enough time to get onto new boots and set another hot lap? I do wonder. Wolfie is also in the pits as well, so Chaz is just starting his hot lap now, and he's got fresh boots. As we just see Puma the Joker just go into the top 9 then, just set a 1 minute 18.7, 7.5 tenths down on Levitius. It is so tight here, Hugh. 7.5 tenths, or in fact 8 tenths separating the top 10 drivers. That's brilliant, and that's one of the closest qualifying we've had in quite a while, which is great. And I see that Puma Racing Neil's in 7th as well, and doing some good times. But to cover that grid in just the top 10 in just 8 tenths, just shows how close they are, shows how competitive our drivers are, and even driving at night. I was going to say the 2 right-handers before the back straight. That curb is so tricky. You think, do you turn in early? Do you turn in a bit late? And also the curb that rides out onto the straight is very, very slippy as well. And quite often we've seen in practice cars spinning off at that point. I think that could be a trouble point tonight. I'm expecting there might be a few spins or a few slides on those curves. But let's Nutcap up into 5th position. Sorry, Hugh. Was 10th up to 5th position. JDJ wasn't able to go quicker, but Chaz was able to go slightly quicker, but still remains in 7th position. In fact, Neil has moved up into 3rd position then with that 1 minute 18.1. So just nearly 2 tenths behind Levitius in 2nd position. Richard is on pole position with a 1:17.9 in the pits. So Levitius will have one stab at trying to propel himself in front of Richard to grab that pole position. But so far, Richard on pole position. That is breaking news right there, Hugh.
That's fantastic. What a wonderful run there by VSR Richard to get pole position so far. And he's nearly 2 tenths ahead of Levitius there. Oh, sorry, no, let me quickly double check that. Sorry, it's just by 0.072 ahead of Levitius. And then Levitius has a couple of tenths on Racing Neil, but very competitive. Neil has looked very strong in this championship so far, and Levitius has a little bit of traffic there, but he's going to try and get his lap time.
It's on pole
position. Pole position.
Let's go, Levitius. Yeah, he was purple in Sector 2, and he really fully got everything out of the car as JDJ went a little bit quicker. Latari racing into the top 3 with a 1 minute 18 flat. So the times will be coming in thick and fast. Panic Potato currently in P6. Can he go quicker? He is 6 steps down on pole position sitter. That is Levitius. So can Panic Potato go a bit quicker and propel himself up a couple of positions? Oh, yes, he does. Up into the top 5. A 10th quicker on his previous best. And that is a fantastic last-ditch effort from Panic Potato. It looks like that will be the end of qualifying. So just confirmation on the qualifying results on round 3 at Road Atlanta. Levitius on pole position with a blistering time of a 1 minute 17.662, nearly 2.5 tenths quicker than VSR Richard, who currently who has a 1 minute 17.9, a tenth quicker than Latari Racing in 3rd position with a 1 minute 18 flat. Then it's Puma Racing Neil in 4th position with a 1 minute 18.1, which there's just not even 200th of a second separating him and Panic Potato in 5th position. The same margin between Panic Potato and VSR JDJ in 6th position, and then there's a 10th gap between JDJ and Nutcap for P7. Chaz does occupy P8, and that may be a little bit disappointing on his behalf, but just 2,000th of a second separating the two drivers on row 4. VSR Wolfie with a 1 minute 18.3 in 9th position, just roughly about 2 tenths of a second separating him and his teammate Fish, who will be on row 5. Kennels qualifies in P11, 1 minute 18.6, a tenth quicker than Puma the Joker, who starts from 12th position. And then the promoted drivers, so Puma the Joker and Vortex, 12th and 13th, 1 minute 18.7 for Vortex starting on row 7. And then at the back of the grid, we got VSR Nitro Merlin, who will be starting from 14th. So very, very tight between the whole grid. Hugh, what are your thoughts on quali?
Well, it's been a fantastic performance by Levitius to get that 2.5 tenths at the last gasp. But Richard's right there, and remember, that's qualifying is one thing, the race is another, and it's great to see all the drivers so close in this championship, and I think we're going to see some spectacular racing. We've got lots of tricky corners, decent straights, big chicanes, and lots of undulation as well, and hills too. So they're going uphill and downhill, and I'm sure that will bring us plenty of talking points and plenty of controversy. We can't wait to get started, Sean. It'll be just in the next few seconds.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, the drivers are just getting ready now ahead of this 38-lap race here at the Road Atlanta. So we'll be back with the racing action in just a few moments' time. So starting on the front row, we got Levitius and Richard. Levitius going to have the inside line as we got 5 red lights. Lights are out and away we go to start round 3 at Road Atlanta in the MSA Cup 2025. And Levitius with a great start to pull ahead of VSR Richard. Richard's going to have to settle in second position with Latari Racing sniffing his back bumper in third position. And Panic Potato also on the bumper of Latari Racing, as it looks like Neil has lost 2 positions then to move down into 5th position. JDJ is in 6th, Nutcap is 7th, Chaz in 8th, Wolfie in 9th, and then we've got Fish in 10th with Kennels in P11 and Joker in P12, Vortex 13 and Nitro Merlin in 14. Let's have a quick look on the race start, just see exactly what happened there. So it looked like, I think Neil just got a really bad start, to be honest, and lost a couple of positions there. But a very clean start to the race as we get back on board with Panic Potato, who is challenging Latari Racing, who is currently just in front of him. Is Panic Potato going to make a move down the inside as we approach corners 10A and 10B? I think he's going to back out for the time being. Lets his teammate Paul in front as Neil goes to challenge Panic Potato, with Potato with a bit of a wiggle on the exit there, but nothing came of it, and Neil will have to tuck back into P5 with JDJ sniffing his rear bumper in P6. That we've got a big train of cars just behind as well. So it's JDJ from Nutcat from Chaz in P8, VSR Wolfie up 1 position to P9, and Fish down into P10 with Joker in P11, Vortex up a position, I think. Nitro Merlin. So in fact Kennels has lost out many a position there, down into the back of the grid in P14. I have missed the replay there, but it looks like something has happened to Kennels, I think, Hugh.
Yes, he's had a bit of an off there. I've been watching from JDG's perspective with Nutcap and Chaz, but it's a bit of a procession at the moment, very, very close with Wolfie there in 9th, and then there's a bit of a gap, and then we've got the last 4 cars there behind. But certainly all the action seems to be happening at the front there, with Racing Neil challenging Panic Potato, but at the back at the moment, from 6th place downwards, we've got JDG, then Nutcap, then Chaz, but it's a close call. They're coming into the chicane as I watched them just now, but it's all looking fairly close, but a bit of a procession, but they are just starting out.
They are indeed. Now, interestingly, with the tyres then, so most of the drivers have elected to pick the medium tyres. Wolfie's on the hard tyres in P9, but he has made up a position, so we will see whether or not that was a good call or not from Wolfie's perspective, but it's certainly very, very close, and one mistake can cost it all, which you know, the likes of Kennels, who's actually made the position on Nitro Merlin. So I do wonder whether or not something just happened there. Let's have a quick look on the replay. And no, there wasn't, as Kennels was looking for the opportunity on Vortex, wasn't able to make it stick, but Nitro Merlin has lost a position to Kennels there. So let's get back on board with the rest of the grid right now. So Neil still currently in P5, and the cars just separating a little bit. It looks like they're trying to settle into position, try to get that kind of consistency going, and just keep it on the black stuff. But Latari Racing has closed the gap to VSR Richard to about 0.4 of a second. Levitius though, as Richard goes a little bit wide, is that going to be an opportunity for Latari Racing? Because of course Richard would have gone a little bit slower out the corner. I don't think Latari Racing is going to be able to go for the move for turn 1. It will take a very brave man, and Richard does close the door on Latari Racing to hold on to that second position. But it does mean that Levitius is starting to pull away then, as Levitius is 1.2 seconds in front of Richard, and it is getting larger and larger as we go through the S's now and out of the exit. So 1.4 seconds is the gap between the two drivers, but Richard now is going to be under serious pressure from Latari Racing and Panic Potato, both in TNR of course. So it is how it is for the time being in the top 6, but any movers and shakers, Hugh?
Yes, and just to let you know that JDG is on the racing hard tyre. So he's not too far away. So he has gone for the hard tyre. So maybe that will help him to go longer in this phase of the race, but then give him the better tyre towards the latter part of the race. But he's doing very well just now, just 1.5 seconds behind Puma Racing Neil.
And Chaz, I thought Chaz was going to slip up the inside. He had the overspeed down the straight for the chicane, or the last chicane of the lap. That is lap number 4 of 38, but he's going to play the patient game, and maybe if he gets that slip from JDJ, will he try one down the inside? I don't think he will. I don't think 2 goes into 1, and certainly on corner number 1, corner number 1, you really don't want to go too wide, because if you're on the outside, there is the risk that you will understeer off into Narnia, and certainly Chaz didn't want that feat. So but he is definitely putting the pressure on JDJ right now, and surely it's just a matter of time before he makes the opportunity stick as we go through turns number 6 and 7. And Chaz is as close as can be, and it looks like though JDJ got a better pull away out of the exit, but Chaz will still be firmly in that slipstream right now. Will he get the overspeed in time before we get into the chicane? Chaz is thinking about it, he's thinking about it, and Chaz does make it work, and into 6th position with a well-timed overtake to move up into the top 6U.
Oh, fantastic. Now Latari Racing has just gone up into 2nd place. He's gotten past Richard.
Oh, and sorry Hugh, they were side by side, Panic Potato and Neil for the fight for P4, but Panic Potato just holding off Neil for the time being. But sorry Hugh, I interrupted you there.
No, that's fine. Latari managed to get past VSR Richard into 2nd place, and Panic Potato was in 4th. And now he's trying to get up to put the chase on to Levidius. He's just 2.2 seconds behind Levidius now. But that's a big move there. That's Latari Racing into 2nd place.
Yeah, fantastic for Latari Racing, and certainly showing that he's a man with pace, particularly in these Group 3 machinery. VSR Richard is now going to come under increasing pressure from Panic Potato, with the gap just about 0.4 of a second then. So Panic Potato certainly on a charge right now, and will he be brave enough to try and make a move on VSR Richard by the time we get into the chicane? I don't think he can do, but he will tuck in, and he will certainly be big in Richard's mirrors as we come across the line to finish lap 6 of 38. So and Panic Potato actually the fastest man on the circuit right now with a 1 minute 18.380. So Richard will be feeling that pressure now, but we'll see if any mistakes will come from VSR Richard in due course, Hugh.
Yes, very close just now. And VSR JDJ, of course, down into 7th place after Chaz's move on him, but roughly 7 seconds behind the leaders there. But that's not bad considering he's on the racing hard tyre and is hardly anywhere on his tyres as well. So we'll see what this strategy will work out like.
An overtake from Panic Potato on Richard, who moves up into P3. Fantastic from Panic Potato. Let's have a quick look on the replay. And so we ride on board with Panic Potato now, and VSR Richard left the door open, and there was Panic Potato saying thank you very much, and moves up into 3rd position. So it's all kicking off right now, Hugh, literally changing positions left, right and centre, but it's looking really good for Team TNR with the 1, 2 and 3 so far in this race, and actually pulling away from it. It looks like Neil is going to be challenging Richard for that 4th position. Backs out for the time being as we go into turn number 1, but it's looking like Richard might be fuel saving at this stage, because just looking at the different stats between the drivers, Richard seems to have the most amount of fuel right now, so maybe thinking of the longer game here, and maybe going a little bit further on this stint of tyres. The whole top 5 currently on the medium tyres right now. In fact, you could go as far down as Chaz, who are on the medium tyres. JDJ is the first of the hard drivers, who is currently in 7th position, and then we've got Wolfie 4 seconds adrift, who is also on the hard tyres, and he looks like he's holding up Nutcap as Nutcap looks to get past him if possible, also on the hard tyres as well. So looks like Nutcap is going to size up an opportunity now with the overspeed down the inside now, and looks like he has already made it work, although Wolfie is definitely not going to give up without a fight, who's going to hang it around the outside. But it was inevitable that Nutcap was going to move up into 8th position, so Wolfie losing a position for the time being in 9th position. And then we've got Kennels starting to come into the fight now in 10th position. Of course, is on the medium tyres, where the medium tyres still oh, that's lag. Okay, I wondered what happened there. But yeah, Kennels currently in 10th position on the softer of the compound, so you would expect him to be faster at this point of the race. So certainly damage limitations from Kennels as he looks to get up as far up the grid as humanly possible before he does eventually come into the pits to change on to some new boots, Hugh.
Yes, it's amazing how fast the laps are going in here. We're already on lap 9 out of 38, and lots of overtakes as they come. We're watching Nutcap now coming into the right-hander and going out onto the straight. And look how much curve he takes as the dust flies and the grass flies away onto the straight. But it's so important that they get a good run. He's got Wolfie and Kennels not far behind, in fact just half a second behind, so they're in the slipstream as they come down the back straight there into the chicane. And of course it's downhill. You're going to watch your braking point as it dips in there, and we've got Wolfie just letting Nutcap know that he is in there. He can see him in his mirrors, and Kennel is right behind him as well. So lots of good kind of very, very close driving, but will there be a big move made? Let's see in the next few laps.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, we're trying to stay on board with the closest of battles, but it seems like there's quite a few battles going on at the moment, but the closest one at the moment definitely is Wolfie on Nutcap, and Kennels as well, just 2.5 tenths down on Wolfie as well in P10. So looking to size up an opportunity should the door be opened for him. But at the moment he's just settling in 10th position, but I would imagine he'll need to make the moves as soon as possible, because their medium tyres are going to start falling off a cliff, and once they do, then the hard tyres will come into their own and be faster in maybe about 5 laps time or so, and not the ideal exit from Kennels as he went all over the outside curb there, which would have lost him a little bit of time. But he's got the slipstream to Wolfie. Wolfie has got the slip to Nutcap as we come down the hill for turns 10A and 10B. He's not going to be able to get past Wolfie for the time being, but certainly very, very close between the 3 drivers. Yeah, it is line astern for all 3 drivers right now for P8, 9 and 10, with Fish 2 seconds down in P11, Vortex 1.8 seconds down in P12, and then we got Nitro Merlin in P13, 4.5 seconds down in P13, and Puma Joker in P14, just a second behind. So let's just go back up to the top of the grid. Levitis always just picked up a half a second penalty for cutting track limits. He has got a 5.8 second lead over teammate Panic Potato, who currently occupies 2nd position. VSR Richard has sunk down somewhat in P3, 7.3 seconds down on Levitis, and now Puma Racing Neil P4 and Chaz P5, and it's looking very tight between the 2 drivers. Sorry, Hugh, something going on?
I think it looked like Levitius went off as he came up the hill, but he's back on the track. But he's lost a good bit of time there, well over 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds. He must have had a major issue coming just under the bridge for the final section of the race, and he's cutting the grass all over the place there, and he's now just 3.2 seconds ahead of Panic Potato, so he had a major moment there.
Okay, yes, you are right. I was looking on board with Chaz and Neil, though, because Chaz did make the move on Puma Racing Neil to move up into 4th position. But yeah, certainly now looking at Levitius, of course, he's going to have the dirty tyres, so he was perhaps a driver just pushing a little bit too hard on them tyres, and 3.3 seconds is the gap, so he has lost roughly about 3 to 4 seconds then, as he tries to recover the car and try to pull away once again. But yeah, certainly the racing medium tyres of that front left tyre looking a little bit worse for wear then, and certainly once they get beyond that halfway mark, that is where the tyres do start to fall off a cliff, and that's where the tyres will be screaming for agony. So yes, Panic Potato has clawed that gap back to 3.1 seconds, but also his tyre wear not looking the best. Fierce R Richard, meanwhile, though, is closing the gap back up to Panic Potato. 1.3 seconds is the gap between the two drivers, and his tyres are looking a little bit better, with Chaz not too far behind now in P4. Neil is still sticking to him like glue in 5th position, and then JDJ, this is where maybe JDJ will start closing in on the front runners on them hard tyres, of course, and you know, this is where we get to see whether or not his strategy is paying out for him or not. He has developed a 4.1 second lead over Latari Racing in 7th position, who is starting to fall off quite rapidly, with Nutcap now starting to catch him in P8 on them racing hard tyres. The gap is 0.7 of a second and dropping, so it looks like Nutcap will try to make an opportunity work for him in the coming lap or so, but yeah, certainly between the drivers, still very tight between Kennels and Wolfie for P9 and P10 respectively. But Wolfie again, there's a growing trend here. The racing hard tyres starting to come into their own now on lap number 13, as Wolfie goes a little bit wiggly on the exit, but still keeps the car pointing forward. Fish is also closing in on Wolfie, just 0.4 of a second down on him in P11, and Vortex actually doing very well at the moment, just 0.9 down on Fish, but he is on the medium tyres, and then there is a big gap to Nitro Merlin in P13 and Puma the Joker just behind him in P14. They will need to get a move on if they are not to finish in the drop zone come the end of the race and be racing for tier 2 next week. But yeah, Hugh, any interesting developments your end?
Yes, VSR JDG has just picked up a penalty, a half-second penalty for cutting track limits. So he's going to have to face that in the next few corners, and certainly on this lap. He was currently 3.3 seconds behind Racing Neil and 9.5 seconds behind Levitius, but that will slow him down. So it's nip and tuck when it comes to strategy, because we had Levitius losing a few seconds, but he's still well out in front. Panic Potato is just 3.3 seconds behind him, so keeping that a nice gap.
And Potato had a penalty to serve there, and looks like Richards is going to start homing in on the TNR driver. Don't know if he's going to be able to make the move, but certainly what that is going to entail is that not only Richard but the drivers behind are going to start closing in on Panic Potato and make it a 5-horse race for that second position. So yeah, certainly things are they're starting to hot up right now, and Panic Potato now will have Richard firmly in his mirrors as we start lap number 15 of 38, and yeah, the gap is down to about 0.4 of a second, 0.3 of a second now. So let's get on board with Richard right now, as we'll see how much closer he can get to the back of Panic Potato and try to force a mistake of the TNR driver. Of course, started in tier 2. Oh, I think Panic Potato might have gone a little bit wide. Is that a penalty for him? I think he may have just about got away with it, but he's pushing for his life right now as Richard tries to eke out more pace out of his car. As Petit Potato goes a little bit deep into the turn, and that would have cost him some time. I'm not sure if Richard can make the move on him before we get down the hill and into the chicane. But Petit Potato, will he defend or will he let Richard through? I think he's just going to let Richard through. And Richard, with quite an easy pass, moves up into second position, although Petit Potato with the old switcheroo, and he actually probably got too good of an overcut there because he hit the back of Richard and wasn't able to perform the old switcheroo, so he will stay in P3, but it looks like Chaz now has entered the foray now because he's in P4 and he is very close to the back of Petit Potato, his teammate of course. So Puma Racing Neil also in the fight in P5, looking to see how this is going to unfold in the coming laps, I think, Joe.
Yes, and interesting that Levidius has less fuel than Richard, and also his tyres are in a worse state than Richard as well. So maybe that little bit of backing off by Richard earlier on might just start to pay off. It's just 4.4 seconds in it, but Richard is in quite a good position here, and he does have a little bit more fuel, and his tyres are a little bit better as well.
Yes, indeed, and I think we're going to stay on board with this fight here because it looks like Panic Potato is once again trying to size up an opportunity on VSR Richard. They're kind of like a yo-yo right now where they can't quite make up their mind on who's going to take each position. Richard is going to defend the inside line and just about got on the anchors in time to hold on to that second position. As Potato goes a little bit wide on the curb there. He doesn't want to be doing that. That'll be unsettling the car no end, but the gap is still 0.2 of a second as it looks like I thought maybe Potato would try one down the inside, thought better of it, but of course probably quite scary for the drivers right now as the tyre wear does start to decrease and it becomes quite difficult knowing where to adjust your braking zones and how much you can push the car through the corners, particularly at turn 1 where the car naturally wants to understeer wide onto the grass. But so far Levitius 4.4 seconds is the lead over Richard, which is 0.3 of a second between VSR Richard and Panic Potato for P2 and P3. Chaz is just under half a second behind Panic Potato, looking to sweep up if any mistakes happen in front of him, but currently in P4. Puma Racing Neil also thinking the same in P5 with the gap just under 0.3 of a second from Chaz, and then JDJ is 6.4 seconds behind in P6, but is on the racing hard tyres and you would expect him to go that little bit further on these current tyres. Latari Racing P7 actually not too far behind JDJ. 2.5 tenths is the gap between JDJ and Latari Racing for P6 and P7 respectively. Nutcap is in P8 however, who is I wonder, was Nutcap in P7 or has he always been in P8? Because I could have sworn he was higher up than that, but he is 4.8 seconds behind in P8. And then Kennels looks like he's starting to home in on Nutcap, where actually Kennels has done really well on the tyre wear, on the medium tyres, and he's still got a fair bit of grip to go on lap 18, Hugh.
Yes, very good. His tyre wear is excellent and he's still got just under a quarter of a tank left. So he's looking strong in those medium tyres. He's about 17.6 seconds behind the leaders, but still they'll be coming in to do their pit stop in the not too distant future. But looking at JDG in 7th, he's of course on the racing hard tyre and he's got plenty of grip left on that, just not much fuel.
Yeah, indeed, yeah. So it's going to be interesting. To be honest, as I mentioned at the start of the program, because of the night conditions, the tyres should last a little bit longer, being that the track temperature is a little bit colder. So those that are on the medium tyres will be getting a little bit more benefit in terms of tyre life, although you can see that, oh my god, I think JDJ might have cut the pit lane there. The pit lane line, should I say, and I think JDJ is going to pick up a 3-second penalty for that. But Nutcap is he's decided to carry on. He's got a little bit more fuel, but yeah, JDJ and really all the drivers really have to be very careful on the pit lane entries. One of the most difficult pit lane entries on the whole roster of circuits on Gran Turismo, where it's so easy to pick up that 3-second penalty. So we remain to be seen if
Puma the Joker's taking a big spin and spun off. He was in 10th place, but he's having to rejoin, but a big spin, but he rejoins now.
Yes, indeed. I've got the replay saved there. Good spot though, Hugh. I literally just got onto him as you called it out there. But yeah, Joker at turn 1. Oh, he just went a little bit wide, and that's all it takes. Spun around, pirouetting. Is that a word? Pirouetting and spinning like a ballerina there, and went off. And lucky not to pick up damage. So that is one saving grace there for Puma the Joker. Could have been a lot worse, but certainly has lost a bit of pride and a bit of time. And we'll see whether or not that has cost him. But JDJ, there you go. Look, 3.5-second penalty. So not only did he get the 3-second penalty for cutting the pit lane line, but also picks up a 0.5-second penalty for pushing a little bit too hard and cutting track limits. So JDJ's just serving that penalty now, and here comes Wolfie, his teammate, with Fish as well in P12 and P13, where they've both made their pit stops and onto the racing medium tyres. JDJ is now just a second and closing actually in front of his teammates. So interesting developments certainly in this race. Nitro Merlin has also made his pit stop, so he's in P14, 11 seconds behind VSR Fish on the new racing medium tyres. Levitius, however, I do wonder whether or not he'll be coming in. His tyres look like there's not too much grip left on them tyres, so he is staying out. So after 20 laps, deciding to stay on them medium tyres, so he'll get at least 21 laps out of them tyres. Richard also doing the same with Chaz P3, but Petit Potato comes in from P4 then, and he'll be dropping like a stone, but it does look like it will be probably the last lap for these drivers before they get onto new boots and put in lots of fuel as well. But it does mean Kennels now moves up into P5 and Nutcap into P6, both with barely anything in the tank as well. But we'll see how Nutcap's race develops, because currently P6, he's on the hard tyres, he's got the medium tyres to come, which are the grippier tyres. So will he gain a big advantage or not? That is the question, as Chaz looks to challenge Richard for that second position then, as they get very, very close, bumper to bumper right now. And here's Chaz. Chaz is closing in on Richard like a homing missile as he sweeps down the inside, and it looks like Richard's just going to let him through then and try not to lose too much time and speed. So Richard will just tuck in behind in third position, but Chaz may be thinking that was a very important overtake before they dive into the pits. Oh no, he's not diving into the pits. So Levitius comes into the pits from the race lead. Chaz and Richard stay out for one more lap then, and looks like Neil is going to come in from P4 as well. Kennels is just about coming in. Has he just cut the pit lane line? I'm not 100% sure. Nutcap as well comes in just behind him as well. So we've got two provisional leaders right now in Chaz and Richard, but they'll be coming in very, very shortly. Levitius, however, just coming out on circuit now. 81% of fuel on the hard tyres. I do believe, is it? Yeah, on the hard tyres. So he has made all his pit stops now, and he'll be going right to the end. So he has quite a sizable margin over Panic Potato, roughly about 7 seconds then. Also on the hard tyres, Puma Racing Neil further 2 seconds behind in P5 with a little bit more fuel. Kennels just coming out of the pit lane now. He's going to rejoin in 6th position. 10 seconds adrift of Puma Racing Neil on the hard tyres. We've got Nutcap who rejoins in 7th position, who is just in front of Latari Racing actually, but Nutcap on the medium tyres, so he should be quicker at this stage of the race compared to Latari. Oh, did he go a little bit wide though? Will that be a half a second penalty? Oh, JDJ up around the outside, sorry, from Latari. I've saved the replay, so we'll have a good look at what exactly happened there. Yeah, it looks like JDJ saw the opportunity and took it with aplomb. So Latari Racing has picked up a half second penalty for cutting track limits. So let's get on board with the replay and see exactly what happened there. So did he just run a little bit wide out of the S's? Oh, he went a little bit scribbly on the exit. JDJ weaved one way and went the other, went around the outside, and lucky not to make contact with Latari Racing, but inevitable that Latari Racing lost a position and also half a second as well, as he loses a position to Wolfie then, and it looks like Fish is going to try and challenge him, but he's going to do it the hard way round as he goes for the old switcheroo, starting from the outside back to the inside, and Fish takes that position away from Latari Racing to move up into 10th position, Hugh.
Fantastic, what a move that was. Fish is always trying, but Latari Racing is coming back on the other side there. It's very close as they come through the S's. Will they make his move as they come onto the straight? They get over the hill there. It's very, very close. They're coming round, but I think there's just enough gap of there for Fish to hold it on.
Yeah, it looks like he is just about got to hold on to it, and should have maybe a little. Oh, he does weave one side. He can only move once, so he's going to have to hold that position now. Yeah, it looks like he's going to hold on to that 10th position. Let's have a look on that replay though, because that was a fantastic move from VSR Fish, who was in 11th position, but yeah, you can see had a much better line going into turn 1, swept to the inside, and Latari Racing had no answer to it.
That was a lovely corner, great driving by Fish.
It was indeed, it was indeed. And just looking a little bit further afield, we've got Vortex in P12. He's currently in the drop zone, 6 seconds adrift of Latari Racing in 12th position, 4 seconds ahead of VSR Nitro Merlin, who is, well, if he remains. Oh, we got yellow flags. We got yellow flags. It's Nutcap. It's Nutcap. He's gone wide. And he drops down into P11. He's got dirty tyres as well, and Vortex is going to home in on the Nutcap now. The gap is down to about 2.5 seconds. Nutcap will be looking to shake the dirt off the tyres. I have saved the replay, so let's have a quick look and see what happened to Nutcap. So he was in 6th position. Oh, he goes all sorts of sideways and off the circuit, and that was a weird one. That was certainly a weird one. Let's have another look on that one.
He's on new tyres.
Oh, he might have just caught a wheel on the grass. Oh no, I think he just caught the left-hand side wheel on the grass, and that was enough to spin him out. So Nutcap is in P11 right now. 2.5 seconds is the gap to him and Vortex. So the race is definitely not over then. Vortex 2.6 seconds behind, will be encouraged by this on the racing hard tyres. Now Nutcap is on the medium tyres, but them tyres are going to burn a bit quicker than the hard tyres. So will the hard tyres come back into their own in the latter part of the race? But certainly big moment from Nutcap. Has he just gone wide as well? Is that a half a second penalty from Nutcap? It is indeed. He's picked up a half a second penalty, and the last couple of laps have been an absolute nightmare for the youngster. It goes a little bit wide again, a little bit squivelly on the exit. In fact, both corners there. So the gap is starting to dwindle down now. 2 seconds is the gap, but it's going to be more like a second by the time Nutcap takes that penalty. So it's going to be roughly roughly about a second between the two drivers now, and Vortex certainly will be encouraged by this, and they're looking to apply all types of pressure to the youngster. This will certainly be a learning experience for the 14-year-old, but will he be able to fight the demons and hold off Vortex to remain in Tier 1 for the rest of for the next round, Hugh?
Yes, that's the thing, because once you make one mistake, it's very easy to make another one. And as you say, there's only 8 tenths with Vortex right behind him, and he's going to try everything he can to catch up and to see if another move is on. But as we look at Nutcap, his tyres are fine. They're pretty much new. He's got plenty of fuel, but still taking a lot of grass there going through the S's. He's feeling the pressure, so he's going to soak it up now. This is what makes him a man here on this championship, as he's driving with all these other drivers who have got probably a bit more experience. But Nutcap is doing a great job, and every so often these little mistakes are going to happen. Oh, he's gone wide again, coming out of the right-hander, goes down into 12th.
Oh, wow. I have saved the replay, Hugh, but talk us through this replay, Hugh.
So he was coming into the right-hander. It's a double right-hander, and here we are down the straight as we come now, and then you've got to brake a wee bit earlier here. He goes a wee bit wide, hits that curb, and low. It's a wee bit dodgy, then onto the second curb and over onto the grass, tries to turn, and that's it, spun and loses 2 places, and then goes straight back on the track. But yes, that's a bit of time lost there, but it's all learning experience for Nutcap.
It is indeed, yeah, he is in the drop zone now, so he is on the medium tyres. They should still be quicker at this stage of the race, but he can't afford any more mistakes now. He's going to have to push like hell. He's going to have to keep it on the track, not run wide, and try to close the gap on the likes of Nitro Merlin in P12 and Vortex in P11, but certainly has handed a handicap to Vortex, who is now in a much more secure position. But Nitro Merlin now, he is an old dog, I have to say, because Nitro Merlin in the last round, he qualified in P13 and managed to claw positions up to finish inside the top 10 and able to race for Tier 1 tonight. So can he perform the same feat here, because he's on the medium tyres right now, Vortex is on the hard tyres, so Merlin is just 1.6 seconds down on Vortex. He only needs to get into that slipstream, and then he can put some pressure on our debutee in Tier 1 for this evening. That is Vortex. So can he do it or not? That is the question. Let's quickly cycle back through the field though. Oh yeah, sorry, go on.
Let's see, Richard and Chad have just got past Neil. Both of them just went through in the last 10 seconds or so, and they've gotten past Racing Neil. They're of course on the hard tyres that are nice and fresh, but they managed to get past Neil.
Yeah, Chaz, down the inside, that would have been turn number 2 then, so I just missed the on board there, but yeah, we just saw Chaz in the background just overtake Neil then to move up into P3, but yeah, good spot there, Hugh. So yeah, certainly this race is not done. We've got 10 laps remaining in this one, round 3 in the MSA Cup at Road Atlanta, and certainly between the top, well, between second, third and fourth, very, very tight. We are talking about just over a second separating the 3 drivers. In fact, you could maybe say a couple of seconds separating the 4 drivers, with Potato at the back of the queue in 5th position. So yeah, it looks like they're all on the hard tyres. Levicius has developed a 13.8 second lead though over the likes of Richard. He has got less fuel than him, but I'm pretty sure Levicius now, he can relax a little bit. I mean, I don't know what the ethos is, Hugh, but normally with a 14-second lead, you know, you don't really need to push so much. Or are you the type of driver, Hugh, where you feel like if you back off slightly, that's where you make mistakes?
Yeah, exactly. And Richard's just got a half-second penalty for track limits in second place. But I think with all that battling from second to fourth there, they've lost a huge amount of time, because it was just about 9 seconds literally a couple of laps ago, and now Levitius is 14.4 seconds ahead. So they lost a huge amount of time battling for the podium there, and that's allowed Levidius to get ahead. Yes, so he probably can relax, although I think with Levidius he's still going to be incredibly fast, even if he backs off a bit. And there goes Chaz and Neil past Richard for second and third.
Richard just holds on to that fourth position. I thought Potato was going to make a late dive into the chicane, but wasn't able to get there in time. So Richard will resume in P4 after serving that penalty, and Potato, unfortunately, in P5. But certainly his eyes will have lit up right there, because the gap between the four drivers are very, very close, and all it takes is that one mistake. Go a little bit wide, or take the inside curb a little bit too much, and certainly a penalty will arise, and that'll be enough to propel yourself up positions. So yeah, Potato, I think, well, you know, on the hard tyres, and, well, actually, so he won't know this, but Potato, side by side with Neil and Richard. Richard's going to take the inside line and brush past Neil into third position, and that was actually a very good move from Richard. Very, very clean and very daring from Richard, but can Neil come fight it back? Because we've got Panic Potato now, who's got the slipstream of Richard, so looks like he's going to power past Neil. Can he power past VSR Richard? It's looking like he's going to be able to do it as they go side by side down the hill into the braking zone for the chicane, and VSR Richard is going to get later on the brakes and hold on to that third position. But Panic Potato was, well, he, as I just mentioned here, Hugh, you know, he would have been encouraged by the fact that the drivers in front are making mistakes, but Richard certainly is battling and trying to hold on to that third position as Panic Potato tries one around to the outside. Oh, he had to back off in the end because he was understeering towards the grass, and Richard was able to hold on to third as Potato loses a bit of time, and Neil is now going to be challenging him for that fourth position. And it is all change at the top of the grid, Hugh. But what are your thoughts?
It's fantastic. Neil's going for it, absolutely going for it. And he knows that there's still a chance of a podium position, but Richard has it at the moment in third place, but with Panic Potato and Puma Racing, there's virtually nothing in it.
And he's just picked up a half-a-second penalty, Panic Potato, so that would have cost him, as we got now JDJ in the background now, so he may propel himself up into P5 with racing, Puma Racing Neil into P4 then. Let's get on board with JDJ now. And it looks like as Potato serves his penalty, he's going to take that inside line. He's going to try and grab that slipstream from Neil. Is JDJ going to make a late? There, he moved down the inside into the braking zone. And yes, he does move up into fifth position. So Panic Potato, with that mistake, has lost 2 positions then, down into P6. And it's definitely all change here, Hugh.
Yes, it's fantastic. All the battling for these from second to sixth, it's all to play for. And there you go. Neil takes that up into the right-hander there, and then JDJ and Panic Potato, there's nothing in it as we see them now. They're this nose to tail as they come through the S's, and we've got to watch those curves. Look at the car bounces off them. It really doesn't like the curves at all, and they come down the hill. Then this very, very tough left-hander. I'm going to take a bit of curve there and try and hold as much speed as you can. And look at that. Oh. There's JDJ, and Neil goes wide.
And there goes JDJ up the inside. Neil, who would have lost a bit of speed there, and yeah, he went a little bit wide, and that's all it takes, you. That is literally all it takes. JDJ will be looking to get the best exit possible out of turn number 9. I think it's turn number 8, sorry. But yeah, Neil will be coming back with a vengeance down the back straight. He's going to have that slipstream. JDJ unfortunately doesn't have the slip to his teammate Richard. So will Neil be daring enough? No, he won't. He backs out. So JDJ will fight to live another day, but there you see Neil all over the back bumper of JDJ, and JDJ will know this now. He'll be thinking, will Neil be daring enough to try and take one, try and push one down the inside? Oh, Panic Potato with a late move though, and Panic Potato caught Neil napping there, and he moves up into P5. Wow, did not see that coming in the slightest, and we're going to have a look on the replay. Although, let me just stay on board with Panic Potato now, because he's closed in to the back of JDJ. So will Panic Potato come back with a vengeance? No, he won't, because he gets a bad exit. So let's have a quick look on the replay and see exactly what happened there. So Neil didn't go for the opportunity, and there was Panic Potato then. He thought, do you know what, I'm going to take your position then. Moves up, moves down the inside, moves up into P5, and it looks like Panic Potato will be pushing to the very end to try and claim another position on JDJ, I think. But let's get back on the onboards now. Panic Potato still in P5 at the moment. We will come back to them very shortly, but let's see a bit further down the grid, because we've got Kennels in P9. It looks like Atari Racing is taking his penalty, who will be trying to hold off Nitro Merlin, who's coming in P11, but Vortex is 1.7 seconds adrift of Nitro Merlin. So do you know when I said about will Nitro Merlin be able to push his way out of the drop zone? Well, he's already done it through all that action. Vortex down into P12, and it's not looking good for him, if I'm going to be honest with you, Hugh, as we come across the line to start lap number 34 of 38. The gap is now 2 seconds between the two drivers. Nutcap still in 13th position, and it's not looking good for him if he is going to remain in Tier 1 for next week. Puma the Joker at the back of the grid with a 12-second deficit to Nutcap in P14. Levitius though, oh my god, Chaz has got a half a second penalty. It just shows you every time I switch cameras something happens, and Chaz has just picked up a half a second penalty. So Richard is going to take that position away from him, and surely he'll be looking to hold on to that second position, which will be good news for his championship. Chaz down into third, JDJ up into P4. In fact, I think he was already P4, but he is going to close in on Chaz to about half a second now with 4 laps remaining. So anything can happen in the last 4 laps. And in fact, look at Wolfie and Neil. So Wolfie has taken the position away from Neil, and literally it is all changed in the top 7, Hugh.
It's incredible. From second to 7th, it's been incredible. The racing there, Wolfie just managed to nip by Neil, so he's down into 7th place, but there's nothing in it. It's a real train of cars, and they're all trying to get that last position on the podium. They can see the cars in front. They're all trying to push as much as they can with just 4 laps left, including the one that they're on, but poor old Neil has gone down to 7th.
He has indeed, and to be honest, I can't take my eyes off of this battle right now, I think, because VSR Richard with a slender lead over Chaz in third, and then JDJ, well, I mean, he's near enough touching the bumper of Chaz, so it is high stakes moment for about 4 drivers then. Panic Potato not too far behind as well, 3.5 tenths is the gap. So again, Panic Potato probably ruined the chance of earlier by picking up that penalty earlier, as Chaz defends from JDJ. And he does squeeze him on the... Oh, there's a little bit of contact. JDJ's through. Panic Potato through into P3 and P4 respectively. Chaz down into P5. I don't know if there's going to be a stewards inquiry on there, because it did look like a push to pass there. But for the time being, JDJ up into P3. Panic Potato up into P4 as well. He's going to be looking to size up an opportunity on JDJ as he goes a little bit wide. Panic Potato backs up for the time being as we go into the S's now. And it's very important to get the best exit possible, but JDJ is going to be fighting for his life to hold on to the last step on the podium. Panic Potato, meanwhile though, he'll be in prime position if he can stay to the back of JDJ. Surely he'll use that slipstream to power past him down the back straight and move up into that third position. Richard is just about in slipstream range, which will help out JDJ, but Panic Potato goes a little bit sideways. That would have not helped his cause, but Panic Potato still firmly in that slipstream now. Can he power pass JDJ? Or is that slipstream a little bit too strong on JDJ's behalf from Richard, as Panic Potato weaves one way and goes the other, but Panic Potato will have to settle in for P4 as we come across the line to finish lap number 36 and onto the penultimate lap of lap number 37. So it is going to go right to the wire here. Levitius has got a big lead of 18.6 seconds over VSR Richard, but Richard is not too far in front of JDJ, just 7/10 of a second. JDJ has got a certain Panic Potato all over his back bumper in P4 with VSR Wolfie. No, sorry, Pure. No, I thought they were closer than that. Chaz down to P7.
7.
Oh wow!
He must have gone wide. I think when he was that battle with Panic Potato and Wolfie, Neil. So yes, he's just a second behind Neil.
Yeah, well, no, he's 3 seconds behind now, and then Fish is closing in on Chaz right now in P8, and then we need to have a look at the battle for the
fuel.
What?
Chaz has got no fuel. He must have had to slow down.
No, Chaz has got fuel. Chaz has got fuel.
He was a little bit left.
Yeah, he's still got fuel. Yeah, so no cap at the moment. Currently in the drop zone in P12, 2.2 seconds is the gap between him and Nitro Merlin. If he is not able to get it out of the bag and push for glory, then he will remain in the drop zone to race in Tier 2 for next week with Vortex in P13, who has been overtaken from Nutcap and is 3 seconds adrift of him. Puma the Joker in P14, 24 seconds adrift of his nearest rival. So let's get back on board with this grid. We will get on board with Levitius very shortly, but he's certainly going right to the wire with VSR Richard, JDJ and Penny Potato fighting it out for podium right now. Potato looks like he is going to size up an opportunity if JDJ and Richard do make a mistake. Just in front, Wolfie in P5 as well. He's going to be joining the fight as well with Puma Racing Neil. Looks like he's going to be out of the fight in P6, and Chaz just behind in P7 and Fish in P8. So let's get back on board with Richard. In fact, we need to get on board with Levitius because he's going to come around the final corner to win his first race in the MSA Cup 2025 for round 3 at Road Atlanta. So congratulations to Levitius. JDJ VSR Richard, they are side by side. JDJ has taken that position away from VSR Richard, and will he be able to hold on to it? We'll have to wait and see. Richard's going to be side by side with him as you come around the last corner, and it's Richard that takes P2 ahead of JDJ and Wolfie up to P4 and Panic Potato down into P5. Let's have a quick look on that replay because that was intense stuff. So let's have a look on the replay now. Richard and JDJ side by side as we went down the back straight into the chicane, and JDJ fought it around the outside, and Richard had to yield into P3, but then came back with a vengeance down the slope into the last corner and actually finished just in front of him as it looked like Potato ran out of fuel just before the Lioness. Wolfie took P4, but that was a very close and exciting ending to the race as Puma Racing Nil finishes in P6, Chaz in P7, Fish in P8, Kennels in P9, Latari Racing in P10, Nitro Merlin in P11, and it will be Nutcap and Vortex and Puma the Joker that will be sinking down into Tier 2 for next week.
Wow, that was incredible. I don't know if it's at all possible to see the replay or not again, because I wondered if JDJ and Richard actually made contact coming into that final corner to take the checkered flag, because JDJ went very wide onto the grass.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to show it, unfortunately. But yeah, it was certainly very close. And yeah, what an ending to the race there. Yeah, we'll get on board with the confirmed race results then. Back in a tick. So it was Levitius who won his first race of the championship with an emphatic performance from him, winning by 18.8 seconds over VSR Richard, who nipped teammate JDJ on the line to finish in second position. JDJ actually picked up a 1 second penalty and was lucky to hold on to third position in front of VSR Wolfie, who just finishes outside of a podium in P4. Panic Potato, he did run out of fuel just before the line and lost that position to Wolfie. He'll be kicking himself as he grabs a P5, but he did get the fastest lap of the race. Then it was Puma Racing Neil who came home in P6 ahead of Chaz in P7, and then it was VSR Fish who finished in the top 8. P9 went to Kennels, then 3 seconds in front of Latari Racing, who finished in a top 10 position. VSR Nitro Merlin survives by the skin of his teeth then, who finished just 1 second in front of Nutcap, who unfortunately will be going down into Tier 2, along with Vortex and Puma the Joker, who finished P13 and P14 respectively. But it is Levitius, Richard and JDJ that'll be joining us in the interview room as we interview and get the thoughts of the top 3 drivers, starting off with JDJ. So we'll be back very, very shortly. Okay, right. We are in the interview room now, and yeah, what a absolute fantastic ending to the race that was, and it's going to be very interesting to get the thoughts of the 3 drivers. But we are going to start off with VSR JDJ. Wow, JDJ, I am literally lost for words. I'm literally out of breath here. Tell me about your race.
Yeah, so it went quite well, starting P5 and ending in 3rd. I knew with the top 5 guys that they were going to jump on the mediums, as it's ideal to, if you're in the higher positions, to start on the mediums. So I decided to go with the hard because I knew it was going to be a battle between the top 5 to compete for positions. So I decided to stay on the hards, got a bit of tow. Actually, I had a brilliant hard stint. Was only, I think on lap 12, I was still 1.5 seconds behind the back of the group. And then unfortunately, I got 4 seconds worth of penalties with the exiting out of the pits, crossing the pit line, and a couple of cutting the track penalties. But at least it still seemed like I was catching enough to the second pack of the grid. And at the end, I caught them. It was a bit difficult passing them with the mediums because my medium tires weren't lasting that long. But got past them at the end and grabbed the P3.
So, JDJ, tell us about the ending, and particularly in the last few corners, because it was obviously neck and neck between yourself and teammate Richard. Tell us about your thoughts going into the braking zone of the final chicane, where you actually did get into second position, but then of course Richard was still there fighting for his life, and it was literally like a photo finish at the end. So tell us about your thoughts in the final moments of the lap.
Yeah, so I think it's the 3rd last corner. I knew I had a run up on Richard, and I decided to go for the move. And I went on the outside as he defended the inside, and I ticked it around the outside. And then on that right at the second last corner, I was still side by side, and we pushed through. And I saw we were next to each other. I saw his front was to my rear, and I knew it was gonna go bad. I knew it was, but I was prepared to stick it because that's not a corner you go too wide in. But yeah, it's just I think he had the better position on track, and of course he just went through. Um, I did cut the grass. I didn't slow down enough going through the corner, so unfortunately I think I did cross the line in second, but I got that 1 second penalty, which demoted me. I'm lucky to actually keep my third position. I thought maybe that would have cost me third as well, but yeah, at least I did. I tried. It didn't work out for me, so but it's fine. A P3 I'm more than happy with.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, literally the last moments of the race. I mean, I lost my voice. I'm still recovering now, and yeah, it was one of the best endings to any race that I've seen in a very, very long time. So, yeah, maybe fortunate to hold on to that P3 as you went wide and picked up that penalty, but you definitely. Got involved in a very dramatic ending to the race. So congratulations to you on third position. Hugh, have you got any questions for JDJ at all?
I say a fantastic performance, JDG. We watched you right from the start on those racing hard tyres, and you did so well to keep right up there. And at the end, you were just flying through. And what a great battle. It must have been pretty intense, those last 4 or 5 laps.
Yeah, it was extremely intense because you don't know when the tire drop-off is going to be that bad that the hard tires actually gains the advantage. So it's like after passing someone, it's like you're fighting for your life because now they've got the slip on you. They can catch up to you and probably battle. And the more they battle with you, the more the advantage goes towards them, with the hard tires not weighing as badly as the mediums. So every single pass was like extremely stressful, and I got nervous after all of them. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to check on the replay because I know me and Chaz had contact, and I'm not sure if I pushed him wide or anything. But yeah, we'll check afterwards. But yeah, the adrenaline is still there. I can't even find the words.
No, well done. A fantastic performance, and you provided us with a great race. We were kept very busy indeed, as Kennels had predicted earlier on. But so well done. Many congratulations.
Thank you very much. And one thing, it seems like Richard can't join the interview waiting room. He keeps on joining and then it leaves joining. I had that same connection issue, but I joined on my phone as I couldn't join on the PlayStation. So, yeah, just a heads up.
Okay,
No
well,
thank you very much.
Well, just to make up for it, JDJ, so obviously, yeah, that was, like I say, a fantastic race at Road Atlanta. We stay on the American Tour. We're off to Watkins Glen for the next race. So can we expect the same sort of drama in that one?
Well, probably because going into this race, I didn't expect me to be in the podium battle because it's not my favorite track. But I messed up No, I didn't even mess it up. The qualifying was just so tight that it could have been, I think, in the top. Okay, excluding Levitius, he had a flyer, but I think from second until up to my position in fifth, I think we were separated by like 1 or 2 tenths. So yeah, it was unexpected. So I won't count myself out for the next one. Anything can happen. But yeah, I'm hoping to see you guys again. Make it 3 in a row.
Why not? Why not, eh? I mean, keep the train going, and yeah, certainly making wonders for your championship as well. So yeah, keep pushing, JDJ. These are fantastic results, and good to do them at the early stage of the championship as well. So yeah, just keep pushing.
100%. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you, JDJ. Okay, and then since we don't have Richard, unless he does make a late appearance, it looks like we're going to have to come to our race winner then. Hello, Levitius. Congratulations on the race victory. A long time coming, but yeah, how are you feeling after that?
Honestly, I'm just relieved. I thought I lost my my touch, but finally got my first win in my new home, which is great. The race was kind of handed to me after the battling started, and I just had to keep it on track. Besides one little hairy moment when I was serving a penalty, I looked at my chat, and as I served the penalty, I almost spun out. But after that, it was pretty straightforward, and I'm just really stoked that I got this W. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you was dominant throughout. I'm still struggling with my voice right now. So yeah, you got P1 in quali. Yeah, you never looked back really, did you? I mean, you led the whole race. But yeah, you had that hairy moment, as you said. I mean, what were your thoughts at that point of the race? I mean, was it a case of like, come on, let's just forget about it and just...
Mental reset, yeah. Just a mental reset, because this track, honestly, you need to just forget. If you've had like one bad lap, this whole track is all about being on the limit, because you have to use the curbs. You have to be on the limit of some of the track limits, especially on the last corner of Sector 1. I think it's turn 7. You have to be playing with the track limits, or you're just going to be losing time. And you just have to push it to that just a little bit to the limit, not over the limit most of the times, and it should be good. Besides that one moment where I lost like 3 seconds, but everything else was perfect. Once I realized the gap was over 10 seconds and everyone was going for it at the back, I just decided, okay, there's going to be margin at like turn 1, turn 3, turn 7, and then the rest, just bring it home. And yeah, the rest has just happened.
Yeah, I mean, you make an interesting point, actually, Lev, because something I said in commentary was, so you had like, I think at the time when I said it, you had something like a 14-second lead. And I was like, okay, so do you kind of like relax a little bit more and just try to sort of bring home the race victory? Or are you that type of driver where if you relax a bit too much, then that's where some of the mistakes could creep in?
No, I don't want to slow down too much, but I do leave about at least an extra half a car length on the exits of the corners that have a bit of a risk factor on it. Like turn 1, for example, you don't want to go mowing the lawn there with a barrier also very close. So just leaving a little bit of like speed, just trying to go a little bit later. I mean, go earlier on the throttle and like carry a little bit less minimum speed so you get the rotation, and then yeah, the rest just playing it safe. Yeah. Just not pushing too hard, but still keeping it on the limit through some corners just so you don't lose the rhythm.
Okay, fair play. I mean, it was a great performance from you, Lev, so congratulations. And, you can start definitely looking up the table now and hoping for more race wins in the near future. Hugh, have you got any questions for Levitius?
Well done, Levitius. A fantastic victory there. And it was great to see you. We all thought if you can stay out of the battling scenes, you'd be able to pull away. And you managed to do that pretty early on. But it was certainly very, very close behind. But it's still it's a difficult race, though, isn't it? With all these undulations and hills and S-bends and watching your tyres. Because you were using a little bit more tyre than Richard. So at one point we weren't sure if that would make a difference, but you hang on to that and made it work. So many congratulations. Was it an intense race for you, or is it? Were there some relaxing points?
No, the thing is, once I had that massive mistake in lap 9, I think it was, I just had to have a mental reset, just keep pushing, because I was getting a bit. Let's just say I was actually starting to relax. Thinking, oh no, well here we are now, 6 seconds after 9 laps. It's gonna be a free one. It felt like it was going to be a free one after that. No disrespect to the others, but they were just battling so much that I gained a second per lap almost. Just overall, especially this track at nighttime as well, where there's some blind corners as well, you really just have to have your reference markers, and you can't relax. It's just like the Nordschleife. It's very narrow. You have to use the curbs in certain places and just keep it in one piece. And I did that with this car, especially around here with this Peugeot. It's just ridiculous. It doesn't like curbs, so you really have to hit the curbs at a straight angle. If you don't, it's going to be over, which is a great challenge. And kept me on my toes.
Yeah, fantastic. Well-deserved victory there. You really showed your skills and your expertise at doing these kind of very intense battles and keeping on top of it all. So many congratulations, and no doubt we'll see you back next week in very competitive form again.
Thank you, Hugh.
And yeah, just a final note, Levitius. So obviously we know that we continue this American theme over to Watkins Glen. So what are your thoughts on the track, and what are your thoughts on your chances of grabbing another victory?
Well, I've had really good results there in the past in GTWS events. Not with an MR car though. It's going to be interesting to see how we can handle that bus stop. That's going to be the problem corner for everyone, especially with this car. If I can just learn how to tackle that corner effectively, then the rest of the track should be quite straightforward. I love that circuit. And lots of high speed sweepers, which is what suits my driving style a lot. And it's going to be dancing on the limit, especially in the boot of the course with a tight uphill corner. It's going to be interesting. Yeah.
Well, many congratulations to you, Levitius. Fantastic win from you. Yeah, keep pushing as well. And yeah, we look forward to seeing how you get on next week.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lev. Okay, and I think we've still got Richard in the waiting room. Richard?
Yeah, sorry guys, I struggled to connect, but I'm on now.
Okay, well, Richard, good to have you in. And yeah, I mean, we couldn't end the broadcast without having a having a word with you, really, because I mean, that was one of the most dramatic endings to any race that I've seen, particularly in SMA. Tell me about your thoughts of finishing in second position, and how you're feeling.
Yeah, I think the race was hectic. It's very dangerous, like Levitius mentioned. On every corner, the car wants to kill you. I was happy with my qualifying time, qualifying second on the grid. So my plan was to try to stick with Levitius and save some fuel, and maybe later on battle. But my fuel saving cost actually the backpack to catch up with me, and then the battle start between myself, Panic Potato, Chaz, Neil was there for a while. Who else? Latori. So we had lots of battles. Yeah, basically that is where Levitius just managed to pull a huge gap. So I knew it was over. We will definitely not catch him. Like you lose like a second a lap. So yeah, I thought, okay, we haven't had a race where we have nice clean battles. So yeah, I actually enjoyed the battles between the guys. I think everybody was fairly clean. So thank you for everybody there. Congratulations for Levi with his first victory in this season. And then yeah, I managed to save a little bit of fuel, and pit stop put in more than enough fuel actually. So because I knew the battles is going to keep coming, so that I can at least rev the car out when it's needed. And then along the way, I made 2 or 3 silly mistakes that cost me penalties. I know Chaz made 2 or 3 silly mistakes. Latori made 2 or 3 silly mistakes. It's so easy to make a mistake whilst pushing for pace on this track. So yeah, all in all, I enjoyed it very much. I'm glad it's over, but it was a nice race.
Yeah, I mean, so you alluded to certainly from I'd say lap 30 onwards. I mean, it just looked like there was penalties galore for the 4 of you, really. It was just kind of like dependent on where in the track and how severe the penalty was. Yeah, I mean, did you, at that stage, was it a little bit of a lottery for you? Was you thinking, okay, I really need to keep it clean. I really need to keep it within the track limits. Yeah, what was your thoughts at that stage? Was you a bit nervous, or would you, what was your mentality going into that?
Definitely, I was a bit nervous because I knew if I take it too slow, then the guys behind me is going to catch up, and then the battle is going to start. And it's actually more dangerous if you start battling because the track is completely unforgiving. You can spin a mile away.
Yep.
So yeah, actually that went through my mind, and at a stage when I was sitting behind, I think it was Latori and Panic Potato, when they came past, I didn't want to battle them immediately, because otherwise we're just going to slow the whole front pack down, and then we're going to bring the back players into the play. So I actually sat behind them saving some fuel, and as soon as I saw the gap was decent enough, then I would try to battle one of them to try to keep the position, get the position back. I think I did have some good pace there on both the mediums and the hards, and yeah, eventually it worked out. Second place, I'm still happy with second place. And yeah, JD with his third place, no mercy between the VSR boys. I actually spoke to him on the party chat, and I said, okay, what did you, where you gonna go? And when I saw he went in a little bit deep into the S, I managed to get a great exit there, and I stick on the inside, leaving him enough room on the outside, and managed to get the P2 back. JD had very good pace on this track. It's just unfortunately he couldn't get his qualifying lap together. But he is somebody to look out for. I think he's going to be very, very quick at Road Atlanta, the next track that we're gonna drive. So yeah, he's gonna be right up there.
Yes, indeed, and yeah, just obviously you did kind of mention it, but I need to ask again. So obviously the last lap, I mean, I've never seen anything like it, to be honest, Richard. I mean, it was particularly between teammates as well, where you tend to be a little bit more friendly amongst each other, but there was no love lost there for sure. And yeah, just tell us about that sequence of corners at the end, because we just didn't know whether or not it was going to be you or JDJ. But what was your thoughts at that stage?
No, I knew it's going to be a battle. Look, that's what we do. We won't battle each other during in the beginning and the half stage of the race. It's just silly because you're going to lose too much to the other runners. So yeah, the last 3 corners, I actually spoke to JD on the party chat that we had open. I said, okay, are we going to battle? Let's just all keep it clean. And he said, yes, let's go for it. And that's what car racing is all about. And that's the good spirit that we've got in the VSR team. So we won't go intentionally and ruin somebody's race. We will work together in the beginning and the middle stages, but towards the end, a win is a win. I know JD wanted second place. I wanted the second place, but there's no hard feelings between us. As long as both parties respect the other driver and leave enough room for them and not bump them off the road, then it's all in good spirit for sport racing.
Yes, indeed, and there was definite evidence of fair play between you two. So, congratulations on that second position, Richard. You're keeping up that solid start to the MSA Cup. Hugh, any questions for Richard?
Yeah. Richard, you did really well with your tyres, and we saw you kind of backing off a little bit here and there and being ready, and at the end it was so strong and so close. We didn't know who to follow. That 2nd to 7th battle was incredible, but a mighty impressive run to get second place against JDJ on that last corner. We thought, oh my goodness, we weren't sure if there was any kind of contact, but no, it was JDJ had gone off by himself on the outside there and got that penalty. But a fantastic run. Many congratulations. You must be very happy with that.
No, I'm very happy. Thank you. I'm very happy with the result.
That's brilliant. Well deserved. And we look forward to seeing you back next week in another competitive field. And I'm sure you'll do very well.
No, thank you so much. Now we'll give it our best. And we like to entertain the boys that's watching the streams. So thank you for them. And thank you for the broadcasting. You guys are doing an excellent job. Keep it up.
That is very, very kind of you, Richard. I will say, though, it's you drivers that are sort of, keeping the views up, keeping us on the edge of our toes, losing my voice. It's a big, big credit to you guys.
Yeah, no, thanks. No, it's always a pleasure. I really enjoyed it.
Pleasure's all ours, and thank you very much, Richard. And continue on with the fight as well for round 4 at Watkins Glen as well. You're definitely looking or even sitting pretty at the top of the championship.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm going to give it my all. Going to put some nice practice in over the weekend. Obviously, work obligations during the week makes it a bit difficult. But yeah, Saturday, Sunday gives us time to look at a couple of strats that we can possibly run. So now we'll put in the effort it deserves.
Yes, I'm sure you will, and I definitely look forward to seeing how you get on next week. Thank you, Richard.
Me too. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Richard. Take care, mate. Bye-bye. Okay, so yeah, Hugh, I mean, I'm still a little bit lost for words, really. I mean, is that possibly the most dramatic ending you've ever seen to a race?
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen from second to seventh. It was so close, and then it really hotted up in the last couple of laps there between JDG and Richard. They were going for everything. So really, it was great. I was kind of thinking, who's going to be my drivers of the day? Because it was so difficult, as they're all so many strong performance. In the end, I'm going to give it to JDG. I think he did a fantastic job starting on those racing hard tyres and making that work to the best of his ability, and getting that podium place in the end was great. And almost got second place out of it. But no, a fantastically close race. Kennels did say we're going to be kept busy, and my goodness, Sean, we were definitely kept busy tonight. But a fantastic race, a great joy to watch.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And so as I struggle to regather my thoughts, yes, it is certainly one of the best races I've seen. And if this race is anything to go by, then we've got one hell of a MSA Cup to go on for the rest of the season. But just to show you what's coming up for next week, and you might have already guessed, we are at Watkins Glen for our for our second of 3 races that we'll have in America. We are off to New York on the east coast of the US for the visit of Watkins Glen, which features 11 turns in a clockwise direction around this 5.5 kilometer track layout. And it was also part of the update 1.17, which the track hosts the IMSA 6 hours at the Glen, the endurance race, as well as the NASCAR race each year. The track has also hosted Formula One races actually from 1961 to 1980. The complex features 2 layouts, and we'll be doing the long version for next week on Monday, June the 30th. And of course, we'll be using the Peugeot RCZ Group 3 car. And this is I'd say a pretty reliable car to use in Group 3. Not so good as Levitius mentioned over the curbs, particularly the fat sausage curbs. So it's going to be interesting to see how the car performs around this iconic circuit. Now, for those that didn't know about the format, but you should know by now. So this sees a promotion and relegation system which has already taken place from the first race till the 5th race of the season for each of the 4 tiers. Top 3 drivers from each race in tiers 2 to 4 will be promoted to the above tier for the next race, that is, and bottom 3, 12th, 13th and 14th, will be demoted to the tier below. After race 5, the final determined tier position will be based on your total logged points with the drop round included, meaning the worst round will be deducted from your final logged points. This will then determine which tier you will race in for the rest of the season. Well, I can tell you that it's round 4 coming up, so this will be probably the last opportunity to get promoted and relegated to your respective tier. We've got to shout out our sponsors for the MSA Cup 2025. We are sponsored by Simulator Cave, the haven for all your sim racing requirements in South Africa, and TGSE Cape Town Golf Academy, the hotbed of nurturing talented golfers to reach full greatness. And yes, please subscribe to our socials at Sim Motorsport Association on all our platforms: Facebook, Instagram, our growing community on Discord, and of course this very channel on YouTube. Make sure if you're new to the channel, smash that subscribe button and clicking the bell notification so you don't miss any of our content. And when you're done watching, hit the like button to help with the YouTube algorithm so it spreads our content across the platform. We fully appreciate you. And if you'd like to contact Robin Williams, our MSA GT7 promoter, for further details, the email links will be in the description below and on our YouTube homepage. Okay, so Hugh, so obviously you named JDJ as your driver of the day. So I will give mine. So, do you know what? I would give it to JDJ, but you know, Panic Potato only making his second race in Tier 1 grabbed a excellent 5th position. And it would have been 4th had he had not run out of fuel just before the line. So I think I'm going to give it to him actually, just for, you know, showing some great pace out there, and maybe he will learn from this experience. Maybe put in that little top up of fuel for the next race, and maybe he can get better positions in the next one. But yeah, my driver of the day is going to go to TNR's Panic Potato. But yeah, Hugh, I mean, obviously, silly question, obviously, you know, fantastic race. What are your thoughts on the race? Was it the usual candidate that you felt that won the race, or, you know, was there any like surprises for you in this race?
Well, there were a lot of great drives. I mean, I was watching Neil avidly through the race to see how he was doing, and he was getting up there. In fact, you know, he was battling at one point for 3rd place and holding it there. So it was those tiny little things that lost him a podium finish tonight. But there were so many close performances. Yes, Levitius drove away and did very well, but we've seen that if you get involved in the battling, you really get slowed down. So it was great to see Levitius drive off there, because he's back with his championship running to get his points up there and to get his you know, championship chances. A really good, a very good boost tonight. But it was great to see Richard and JDG really pushing, and yeah, it's going to be close. I think this was a race that definitely Levitius had a good advantage from. We've seen that in practice, but all the racers are very, very competitive. There's not much really between them, and it's great to see the fight being taken, and this championship is now incredibly open.
Yeah, it certainly is, Hugh. Certainly is. So, Hugh, obviously, you're on YouTube as well. So, for those that haven't already subscribed to Hugh Hattrick, he's an awesome podcaster that does lots of driver interviews for on behalf of SMA. But any content, any exciting things coming to your channel in the near future?
Yes, I'll be streaming again tomorrow morning, and also on Thursday we'll be doing interviews as well, and the time trial in the morning, and then the SMA interviews in the evening. In fact, I'm hoping maybe to put a lobby together and see some of the drivers from SMA come and join me and race. So for anyone who's watching, to speak to Robin, and we'll get that confirmed, and we'll be able to get a lobby sorted for Thursday night, which we'll be able to interview you as well, just to put you off your driving and give me a chance of winning perhaps. But no, it's going to be lots of fun, and thanks to everyone who's been watching. We had 2,400 people watch my live stream on the Shorts channel, on the vertical stream that I did today, so a big thank you for that, and it's certainly going in a great direction.
Yeah, that's incredible figures, I have to say, Hugh. Fully deserved, and long may it continue, of course. But Hugh, thank you so much for joining me today, and we hope to have you back on another MSA Cup race. We'll see in terms of the schedule. We may even have you back next week, Hugh. But thank you so much for your company today.
Oh, it's been an honour and a pleasure. A fantastic championship, great racers, great to be alongside you, Sean, tonight, and for all the admin as well, and the viewers, a big thank you, and it's a pleasure to commentate for you.
And yeah, thank you to everyone in chat as well for joining us tonight as well. Hopefully you enjoyed it as much as we did in the commentary box. And yeah, as I said, if you haven't already, please do hit that like button, because it really does help us out. And if you're new, please do hit that subscribe button, and take us well beyond that 200 that we actually hit last week. So we appreciate all the support you give us each and every week, and yeah, thank you so much. So it was Levitius who romped home to become the winner in round 3 of the MSA Cup, as the championship starts to open up and certainly hot up. Will there be any surprises in store for the next round in round 4 at Watkins Glen? Well, we'll have to wait and find out next week. So make sure you tune in to this very channel on YouTube at the Sim Motorsport Association for Monday the 30th of June at 8:40 p.m. Eastern Africa time. But from everyone in the MSA and the SMA production team, a huge thank you for watching, and we will see you next week. I've been your main host, Flawed Genius Gaming, so stay safe out there and have a fantastic week. But till then, it's a bye-bye for now. SMA, growing the sport together.